In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 different strategies that I use to help people with autism and other disabilities get jobs. I'm Craig Kahn. I've got it going on. And this is Team Autismpedia. We're dedicated to educating you about autism. If you're interested in this type of content, please consider subscribing so you can get our latest videos. In a recent video, which is linked above, I mentioned that I'm a job coach and that I work with people with disabilities, including autism, on how to help them get a job and prepare them so that they can get it. So there's some best strategies that we work on to help these people get a job. The first strategy is that you need to have a strategy, that you need to know what are you going towards. Often I am a big fan of trying to specialize in something, getting a skill, something that can set you apart from other people, and something that can actually even make it so that if you lose the job you have, then you can more easily find a job in the future because you have a marketable skill that someone else will want. And even a number of people with disabilities, you may not think they can learn certain skills. So it's important to find a skill that they want, because if they find something they want, and that will help them, and that can also help them connect to the people who would be hiring them. Wouldn't you want to hire someone who has an interest in what they're doing? That makes them always a better employee. So another part of this strategy is that you may be actually connected to an agency, like what I'm connected to, and they may have jobs for people with disabilities too. That's also another way to go about it. But a skill is a great thing because it's something you can take wherever you go. But you can always learn new skills, even at something that may not have much skills involved. But it's important, however you're going about it, you have a strategy and you know where you're going. So the second strategy is that you need to practice. This is practicing in 2 different areas. One is if you want to go for a skill, then you have to practice that. I worked with a guy who figured out that he would love to do cooking and that. So we worked on getting him some more experience so that he could do better in that. Then that raised his confidence, made it so that when he got into a conversation with someone else about his abilities in cooking, he was able to say, hey, this is what I'm able to do. So he could more likely impress someone and show them that he's worth hiring. The other area of practice is for some people, they'll need to practice on some of the skills that are necessary to have a job. Can they work on making sure they can get to where they need to be on time? Will they be able to listen to instruction? Those things sound simple to us, but not everyone is at that level where they have that. So we each need to look at our own selves and see where do we need to work on, and how can we get practice to get ourselves better. Because if we can do perfect practice, that will get us to perfection. The third strategy is to look at trying to make connections in the community. Getting a job is not always easy for someone with a disability, because if someone has some things that may look off on them, then they may not be likely as chosen someone who looks normal or okay or something like that. That those other people are going to be, the second group is going to be chosen more times than the people with disabilities. So we need to look at making connections that can lead to jobs and will give someone a chance. So that can often be in your community, religious groups, volunteer groups, friends, family, other people. Those people will likely give someone with a disability a chance, or they may know someone who will give someone a chance. You have to be the first one that they think of when they're thinking about an opportunity, so that you have that advantage of getting the job for them. Fourth thing is that you need to look at preparing for the interview once you finally found something. It is very important. I know this personally as someone with aspergers, that It can often be challenging with interviews, especially when you haven't had that many of them. Practice. Talk to someone. Look at answering some questions from them. And go through it and practice, because you're going to need that. Our biggest weakness is our social skills, that they're not as good as other people. So we need to work on it. I know I've had some bad experiences where I didn't catch on cues. I did some things I may not have, shouldn't have done. Not things that are horrible, but things you don't do in an interview. So make sure you don't make those mistakes yourself and learn them in the right place, which is in practice. The fifth thing is when you actually get a job, you need to be the best employee that you can be. You may not realize this, but everywhere you go, and especially in your job, if you are someone with a disability, you are going to be someone who people look at and use as an example. Are you going to be the example that someone was a good employee or a bad employee? And also, were you able to work with your disability and show that you could do the job, or did the disability get in the way? You need to work on that and make it so that people will say that people with disabilities can do a great job and that they'll have a great frame of reference. I hope that's what you're going to be. And please look at subscribing and check out another video so you can look at improving the lives of people with disabilities.